All right. Welcome and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I am Troy Thomas with EBSCO Ed, and I have Claire Minto here with me as well from the Mobile County Public Schools. And we are just excited to be here with you today and hopefully teach you a little bit about the Alabama Talent Triad and how that's going to hopefully help you connect not only with high school students, job seekers, but connect with them at the career fair, but also then beyond that. A lot of times these career fairs, they are excellent ways to connect with students and job seekers. But you have a short amount of time to squeeze in as many connections as you can make, and hopefully a tool like this will help you to be able to continue to manage those connections and turn some of those connections, into potential job opportunities. All right, so we'll promise to keep this short. I do have a quick message here from Nick Moore. If you're not familiar with Nick Moore, he is works in the governor's office, the Office of Education and Workforce Transformation. Go ahead and get that started. All right, so Nick uses a lot of fancy language, so we'll get just kind of into the basics here. I'll show you why it was created, how to sign up, how you're gonna use that to create job descriptions, ultimately connect with job seekers, and so then hopefully you'll have a better understanding of the triad. So why was it created? Well, back in 2018, the governor and the state of Alabama announced an initiative to increase the number of credentialed Alabamians by 500,000. And the town triad is really just one of the ways that they're gonna, try to solve that mission. So really, it was created to increase the skilled workforce in Alabama, to increase the labor force participation rate in Alabama, which lags behind kind of the national average for labor force participation rate. Really to help build a bridge between workforce and education, so that those two can continually have conversations, so that education and training providers are meeting the needs of workforce. Ultimately, too, to just make all learning count. Students are doing tons of things that don't necessarily show up on a resume, and the Talent Triad is a way for them to add some of the skills that they're learning through those extracurriculars, through those projects, add those into their wallet that's going to help them get connected to jobs. And then the ultimate goal is to get people connected to job and learning opportunities based on the skills that are in their wallet. So there are three pieces of the triad. Later on in the slides, our focus will be on the skills-based job portal for employers, but there's also digital wallets and LER component for students and job seekers. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. And then there's also a credential registry where all the education and training providers across the state can come in and put all their certificates, licenses, credentials, degrees, and really unbundle those down to the skill level, so that as students and job seekers are earning those, they get the skills that come along with those as well. So it is a state initiative, but in order to really have success, there needs to be investment and buy-in, across the state. So from the different government agencies, from education training providers, the workforce industry needs to be truly invested. I don't mean dollar-wise, because the state is taking care of that, so it's fully funded by the state, free for every Alabamian, free for all employers to be a part of. But by investment, I mean engagement and adoption. And we're starting to see that happen. We're partners with the Department of Workforce, ALSDE, the community college system, adult education. We're working with chambers of commerce across the state, the career centers, and most importantly, industry. There's already over 200 plus employers from across the state, and all of the 16 in-demand industries that are already signed up and participating. There's over 10,000 plus jobs that are part of the job recommender, and that's just going to continue and continue to grow. We're seeing new companies sign up every week, and we are seeing more and more wallets and LERs opened every week as well. So it's exciting to see the growth. It's exciting to have so many great partners across the state. So you might be asking yourself, well, how's this different, than the normal solutions that you may work in now? How's it different from LinkedIn? How's it different from Indeed, or even like a Smart Resume, or any of the other workforce solutions that you can find and use out there? Well, it's not an isolated solution. So it's a statewide solution for every Alabamian and every employer across the state. It helps to build that transparency of what students have learned and earned by making skills that common denominator. And what I mean by that is the skills are ultimately the connection point between the job seekers and the employers. So by adding the skills to your job descriptions, that's what's going to match the students or job seekers with those jobs. It's also the Town Triad is also interoperating directly with the student information systems at the school. So at the high school level with PowerSchool, community college level with Banner. We're working to make the connections with the 4 years, so Alabama, Auburn, Troy, all the the 4-year universities as well across the state. And that's very, very different from LinkedIn because that allows us to get validated credentials into the students' wallets. Everything that you see in LinkedIn and Indeed is all self-attested, meaning, I create my account and I say I got a degree from, so-and-so university. Whereas in the Alabama Talent Triad, that credential, the student is going to sync their wallet with the student information system at their school, and it pulls their credentials in for them, and it has a nice blue check mark that says validated by whatever high school or whatever community college. So that's a very big differentiator between a lot of the other workforce solutions. And then also, anyone who creates their wallet or LER within the Talent Triad is going to be supported, through retirement. So there's not a different wallet once they complete high school and once they complete college. So as soon as they fill out and sign up for their wallet, they're going to have that same account through retirement. All right, so I keep mentioning learning and employment records. So I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about those and why those are a key differentiator for the Alabama Talent Triad. So the learning and employment records are those credentials, but what they do is they really allow you to create a next-gen resume that can really tell the full story of the job seeker's full educational career and their any career or job experiences that they've already had as well. It also can interpret those and see how they align to different career pathways, and then also make it easier for you, the employers, to better understand, what that job seeker has, what they've done, what they've learned, what skills they have. So basically, it essentially brings to life what students and job seekers have learned and earned, and keeps them prepared, for the next step in their career, and ultimately makes it easier for employers to identify the relevant candidates and get connected with them. All right. So the skills-based job portal for employers, how does it work? It's built for mobile and desktop platforms, so it can be accessed from basically any device. There are apps as well. So I know there's one already in the Google Store, and I believe the one for the Apple Store is coming shortly as well. But essentially, alabamatalenttriad.com. You'll see at the top of the screen there is a partner sign up. That's where you would sign up as an employer. Once you do that, you'll see here there's the sign up as employer. You'll get an email from the Talent Triad that will ask you some questions about your company, just so we can help verify that you are an Alabama company, you have Alabama jobs, so everything is relevant to the Alabama Talent Triad. For anyone who just wants to sign up for their own account, wants to have their own digital wallet, you'll just see in the middle of the screen here a sign up, it's free. So once, as an employer, you've signed up, you've kind of completed the short questionnaire to get your company in there, you'll be able to start to build your profile for your company. Pretty similar to like any type of profile that you're probably putting into Indeed or LinkedIn, just your company information, industry, sector, and then like short paragraph about your company. So that's under the company profile. You can just create profile. And for those of you who may have like multiple companies that maybe, and you recruit differently across your organization, you can have as many profiles as you want as well. All right, so once you have your profile, you can then come in and start creating your skills-based job descriptions. So there's really a number of ways to do this. To start it, you would click skills-based job over here on the left menu, and then you'll see the create job. You can start one from scratch. There's also skills-based job templates out there. There's also what we call skills packs. So those we worked with the in-demand industries to build basically a skills curated job description. So you can go in and type skills pack, and it'll bring up a ton of different job descriptions with skills already attached to those. And I'll show you what that looks like. There's also you can add industry trusted credentials. So if you're a company and you recruit people who have gained a specific certificate, or students from high school who were interested in certain CTE courses, you can add those to your job description and the skills that come along with those, so that when you get recommended job candidates, it's going to be job candidates with those skills. And then finally, like Nick Moore mentioned, we'll also do it for you. So if you say, we just don't have the time, or we have too many jobs, we have a team that can add those in there for you as well. But basically, creating your skills-based job descriptions, building your company's profile, is your way to kind of showcase your opportunities in a way that's going to draw attention, because ultimately how you build your job description is going to decide who gets matched with that job and who is recommended to you for that job. All right, so once you hit that first create job, if you're kind of doing it from scratch, you're just going to build a new job description. So you would click that button. You can see in this account, there's already some templates. So you can click to use template. Excuse me. Here are the industry trusted credentials. And I know I'm going pretty fast, but we are recording this. So we'll send this out to all the registrants, and then we'll upload it on the Talent Triad as well. But you can also search for those industry trusted credentials. And when you click to add this to the job, the required skills that come with that for the student are also going to get added into your job description. So that makes a great match with the students that have earned that credential. And then here under the required credentials also is where you can search for the skills packs. So you could just see there's 4 or 5 that show there, but there's literally hundreds of those that you can add to a job description as well, that are just going to give you a ton of skills, that's going to match you with a diverse set of candidates for your jobs. And just an example of a particular skill pack and the skills also that come along with those. So once you create your job description, you add those skills. If you've added a credential to it, you're happy with it. There's also tons of boxes where you can add in anything that's pertinent information. Like if you want to highlight your 401k program, you want to highlight your benefits. There's tons of ways too that you can kind of elevate your job description and add more detail that's going to attract more candidates as well. But once you save and publish that, is when you can then come down to the recommended candidates. And then depending on how many jobs postings you have, you'll just come in and select the one you want to see candidates for. And then it's going to show you a list of candidates. And this is, I want to say, a real exciting piece, especially early on in the pilot phase. Employers were super excited about this because really it gives them a way to start to build a talent pipeline. Because not only is it going to match you with candidates who are the best matches, but it might match you with someone who is in progress or only has half the skills that you're looking for. So you can thumbs up or save candidates into a saved or archived part of your profile, so that you can kind of build a pipeline really of candidates that you can come back to. If you're going to be recruiting for 6 months down the road, you could say, oh, I remember Joe, who was a match, but maybe didn't necessarily have all those, and I saved them or bookmarked them into my account. Let's go back and see where Joe's at, and maybe he now is a better match. So it's a way to really start to build a pipeline of candidates for particular positions. Also from the school side, so we're, like I mentioned earlier, we have all these partnerships across the state with the ALSDE, ACCS, adult education. So all of those students have LERs, all of their credentials ready to be synced. So once they sign up for their wallet and claim their wallet, they can automatically sync all of their credentials. So, thousands and thousands of students that have wallets ready to be synced. And this is just a sample of, the Mobile County school system, what their high schools were doing with their seniors last week to prepare for the career fair. And I know there's similar things that high schools are doing all across the state, similar to this, getting their seniors signed up so that when they leave, they have a way to get matched with jobs. And I'll let Claire, just talk about this a little bit more and her excitement. And, we're thrilled to have their support and all the planning they're doing around the Talent Triad as well.
Thank you, Troy. And I'm going to reiterate what Nick Moore mentioned earlier, is that this is a rollout year and a work in progress. So what I'm excited about is we've already seen the gaps that we're going to be able to close with our students in just year one. And we're hoping, I'll tell you a little bit about our long-term goals, but immediate goals were just to make sure that we got our seniors this year into the Alabama Talent Triad, and to educate to them as much as possible that this is a lifelong opportunity and program that you can continue to dive into over the course of you finding your future career. Most of the programs that K-12 usually use end when a student graduates. And so the Alabama Talent Triad is a unique opportunity for us to put a student in ninth grade year, allow them to truly go into this platform each year and continue to put in their skills and experience that they're doing as they're going through our career tech programs, as they're gaining experience in other aspects in the workforce, and not wait until they either graduate high school or graduate college to try to go back and remember all of those experience and to be able to identify those skills that sometimes they have a hard time putting words on. So we're excited about what we did to prepare them for the career fair because we wanted them to make sure they were in here. We helped them identify their skills and experience and create their LER so that we could really build up that resume with the credentials they earned while they were with us and other experiences, job shadowing, internships, and so forth. We also wanted to help them find the words to identify their hard skills as well as soft skills. One thing that is hard for a senior is to use the right terminology that business and industry is using. So through this process, they've learned a lot of new terminology of the skills that maybe they used a different way of identifying. Now they're seeing what's on job posting and the way the industry writes different descriptions down on their job postings. But it has already been an exciting process. Again, it's a learning process. We're learning what worked and what didn't work on a shorter time frame. And I do just want to mention our future goals. Our future goals are going to be to have students really work and learn the importance of using Alabama Talent Triad from freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year so that they're comfortable enough to continue using it through their college years, through if they decide to go community college or 4-year or directly into the workforce and they decide to go to a training program. We want them to feel so comfortable with Alabama Talent Triad that they continue to update those skills and experiences and use it to form connections and use the learning modules as a resource once they leave us and no longer have us as teachers to help continue to guide them. So I just want to open the door real quick to Kelly Snodgrass, who's kind of been a partner with me on this at the Mobile Chamber, if she wants to add a few key points.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you, Troy. I just wanted to, mention that the Mobile Chamber is a huge advocate of the Alabama Talent Triad. I feel like I've been talking about this for forever now, and we're finally at that point where it's getting rolled out, and it's something that's really exciting for both the job seeker, the students, and the employers because of this connectivity that it's going to create, the common language. One of my favorite things is that this is a lifelong wallet. Prior to this being available, I know the students are in the Alabama career planning system, and it historically didn't follow them once they graduated. And they were kind of having to make some of those things like their resumes from scratch and try to remember everything they've done. I have a hard time remembering what I did last year. So you can imagine if you're asking a student on the spot to create a resume and for them to think about any experiences or certifications or classes or jobs they've had in the past 4 years, it's extremely difficult. Another point to make on the employer's end, I get asked a lot, y'all are implementing programs. We've got all these initiatives. How do you track the success of those? How do you know where students end up? And in the past, that's been extremely difficult. Once they've graduated and enter the world, they're very hard to follow and find out where they did end up. Did they end up somewhere in the industry that they studied in school, or did they get a college degree and work in that field? It's very hard to know the answer to that, and we're really excited about the ability of the Talent Triad for us to kind of be able to look and see, tracking these students as they graduate, looking at adults as well who entered the and create a digital wallet, but to see is what we're doing the right thing, are the skills that they're learning, the skills that are actually needed. And there's so many other points that can come from this, but it really will only be successful if we all work together and participate. And I thank the school system for being kind of an early adopter to this, and jumping in and saying we're going to work and we're going to get every senior this year is super exciting. And if we keep with this momentum, before long, we'll have a very large majority of the population in Mobile on this platform. So thank you both again. Thank you everyone for joining. And I guess if we have any questions.
Well, I just want to close. Thanks Kelly, thanks Claire for your continued partnership. And just to reiterate what Kelly said, it is a true partnership. And to that end, we're constantly taking feedback. So, if you're an employer, you get in there and you think that it's just missing something, or something just isn't working for you. When we first started our partnership with Claire's team, they said, oh, could it do this? Can it do that? And we've worked with them to continue to add to like a long list of things that we're going to make upgrades for their team, for the career coaches that work within the Talent Triad. So this is going to be a continuing evolution, a continuing partnership. So feel free to reach out to us and, give us any feedback on, any feedback or things that you would want to see in the Triad. Here's just a list too of any training assets, support links. So this is down at the bottom of alabamatalenttriad.com. There's additional training, so an employer training for those of you who might sign up your family or your children. There's student training, family training, so tons of resources out there for you as well. And we have a minute or two here left, so if anyone does have any questions, you can type those in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer any of those. Give it another 30 seconds here. Hopefully that means we just answered all of your questions. All right, well, thank you all. And I will also be at the career fair with a table. So if you have any burning questions or you think of something after we're done, feel free to stop by my table and chat. and look forward to seeing you all there.